Hi, and welcome to Hanaz Writers Podcast. I'm Charlotte, and in today's podcast, we are going to be talking about writing journals or diaries. If you haven't heard any podcasts from Hanaz Writers before, then have a listen on their YouTube and Spotify channels. You can search for them on both websites, and you can start listening straight away. They are free to listen to. Uh, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Charlotte, and I work at a primary school. So this year I started school in September and we'll be running through till July. And I work with a year two class, and children in this year two class are 6 years old to 7 years old. So last term, for the autumn term, from between the months of November and December, my year two class were reading a story about Rapunzel. And one of the tasks that we set the children to do is to write a diary entry. And for the class purposes, we showed them what a diary entry looked like. We talked about why we write them and what the purposes of them are. So, as the story goes, the book that we were reading, Rapunzel has long hair and it's grown to such a length that the witch uses it every day to climb in and out of the tower where Rapunzel lives all by herself. And the kids actually quite love the phrase Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, and we kind of give it a witchy kind of. So when the witch is outside the tower and she's calling up to Rapunzel, and she because she visits Rapunzel every day in this story, and she goes Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, and the kids just love it because they can pretend to be the witch and use a really witchy voice to say this in. But it's heard and used very often, so the children know it, and then they repeat it, and they love getting to that part of the story. And in our book that we are reading, we have a lot of information that's missing. For example, it doesn't really tell the children like how Rapunzel got into the tower in the first place. There's no kind of backstory. She's just that it just says she lives there all alone. And it doesn't even say why she was put there in the first place. I mean, if you watch the Disney movie, they've Disneyfied it and they show the evil, wicked witch has stolen her from her parents and they stored her away in there. But here in this story, it was very simple. Rapunzel lived there all alone. The witch visited every day. So it seems to us that the witch knows why she's in there. The witch knows how she got in there. And we know why the witch is the only person to visit her every day. But then there were a lot of unanswered questions that came from the book, and we took the time with the children to discuss these. And we looked at how Rapunzel was feeling about this whole situation. What was she thinking, and what was she feeling? Those were the main kind of things that we looked at, and we kind of retold the story about what happened to her. We had the questions. We got the children to think about how does she feel to be trapped in a tower every day. How does she feel about the witch? Does she think the witch is a friend or an enemy? How does Rapunzel feel to be alone and all by herself in the tower every day? So we took this time to think about it. We took this time to talk about it and discuss and what Rapunzel's thoughts might be at this time. What is she thinking about every day? You know, she's all by herself. What is she thinking when the witch calls out the window up to her, let down your hair every day? What thoughts are running through her mind, maybe, as she sits and looks out the window by herself? And what does she even think and feel about the witch? As which this kind of pre-prompting we did was to support them with their diary entry. So before they even started their diary entry, they had to go through all of this thinking, writing, talking, discussing about it all. Like, how's you thinking and feeling? Because when you're writing a diary entry or you're writing a journal entry, you need to include these kind of things because you're writing as that character. You're pretending to be Rapunzel. So we picked Rapunzel for this class, this term. And, you know, how's she thinking? How's she feeling? So they had to get in that frame of mind before they can even start writing a diary entry or a journal entry because they need to know what she's writing and why. Like the why is the main reason. And sometimes children find it hard because yes, they'll ask questions, but they won't ask the right questions sometimes. They'll ask questions that are irrelevant. So you got to kind of point them in the right direction and support them and help them think about what they should be thinking about, what they should be writing about. And this is all before they even start writing, "Dear diary, today, da da da." So I looked up the definition of the diary with them, and it says a definition that I found with, I think it was Collins Dictionaries and Definition, is that a diary is a book in which one keeps a daily record of events and experiences. So when I asked my class about the diary and what is a diary book, what is a diary, one child said it's a book that belongs to you and no one else should read it because it's private and it has your private thoughts inside. And I thought that, coming from a 6-year-old, this was actually quite a nice explanation. It's quite a wonderful explanation about what a diary is. And she was right. It's exactly it. It is a book. It belongs to you. No one else should be reading it, and it's private, and you write your private thoughts and feelings inside. So it is true, diaries are a book that's about what's happened to you. It's very personal. It's about events that have taken over the course over the day. It's what you've taken from it. What did you think about it? What did you feel about it? So it's very personal, and it's kind of biased as well. So it's all about you. But it doesn't have to just be about you. As you're writing the story, you have your own thoughts to write about. You're like, oh, I wonder why the witch has done this. I wonder if the witch has also felt this, So you can write these kind of thoughts and feelings, and it's kind of questions that you can think and reflect on. And when you're writing your diary or journal entry, it's a very good way for you to help you kind of take stock of events. It helps you to think about the events that have happened and to think about what actually happened and why they happened. I think there's currently in 2024, 2025, we feel like we just rushed off our feet. We rush around a lot. We get busy, we got lots of different tasks to do. We have lots of things to do. For example, I was just trying to think about what I would do in a typical day. So let's say on a day-to-day basis from Monday to Friday, it's work day, You wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off, it wakes you up. And your first thought is kind of like, oh, I have to buy this list of things for tonight. Maybe you'll need to buy some food for dinner. Maybe you need to buy food for the next day. Maybe you need to buy food to bring into the office because you want to celebrate something, or you're sharing food with someone, And that's kind of like the first thing in your head. And the next thought that might pop up is, oh God, there's that email that I must reply to before 5 p.m. tonight. And again, that's just another thing that's just popped into your head because maybe you saw the email late last night and you're like, I'll get to it in the morning. And then while you're sleeping, you forget because you're sleeping. When you wake up, it's there and you're like, oh, pops in your head, I need to do this. And then another thought pops in your head. It's like, oh God, I have to talk to so-and-so this afternoon. And I have a meeting at 1 p.m. today. So I have to talk to so-and-so again. And you have all these different thoughts. And you're like, oh gosh, I have to do this, and this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you kind of reminding yourself that you have to do as soon as you wake up. And this is all kind of thoughts that pop into your head before you've even gotten out of bed. You're like literally lying in bed, your alarm goes off, turn it off, you wake up, open your eyes, and you're like, oh no, I have 5 things that I need to do before. And you haven't even got out of bed yet. And then, that kind of weighs on your mind and it kind of makes you feel a bit tired, maybe a bit heavy, a bit like sluggish. So then you kind of don't want to get out of bed, maybe, even though you've literally just woken up and you're like, yes, I'm ready. And then, oh no, I've got these 5 things I need to do. Oh, it's such a hassle. So then when it gets to 6 p.m. in the evening and you've done all those 5 important things, hey ho, during the day, another 10 things have popped up. Another 10 tasks popped up during the day and important things that you had to do. So when it gets to 6 p.m. in the evening, you've had more than maybe 10,000 different thoughts coming and going through your mind. Maybe more than 500 different things that happened to you during the day. I mean, even as you walk into the door of your house, you'll realize, oh gosh, I have another few things to do. I have to cook dinner with all the food that I bought. I have to eat that dinner. If you have family, I have to cook for my children. I have my husband who's on schedule. If you're an active family as well, you might have your kids' extracurricular activities. You picked up your boy or girl from school. it's 3:30. Actually, I have to bring them to a piano lesson at 4. So from 3:30 to 4, you're driving around, getting to the piano lesson. You have to wait there from 4 to 4:30. While you're sitting 4 to 4:30, you get messages on your phone. Your mum calls you, your aunt, your brother, your sister. They ask you for things. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, tomorrow we got that. Oh, we had that meeting next week. Oh, we're going out on Saturday. And you've got another 500 things to do. You take your child home and it's 4:30. Okay, then you get started on dinner. Your husband's away. Oh, he's at work. Okay, I have to wait when he comes back. I make his food as well. And then you have other people calling you. Maybe your friend calls you. You have a good old chat. And then you have to make sure your child is dressed and ready for, and they've had their dinner and they're ready for bed and so on and so on. You know, and it's just a busy day. It's very busy. You've got lots of different things to do. I mean, even if you don't have children as well, you have other things that you're doing. You're seeing friends, you're going out for dinner, you've got people who call you as well. You've got bills to sort out, maybe. You've got emails to answer, personal and work emails, and it's just a busy day. You just get all these tasks and things that you have to do. And then by 11 p.m., you're just tired and you're ready for bed. And then you go to sleep. And then the next day you wake up and you do it all over again. So you end up with more things to do and less time. And this keeps you busy. And you don't realize. And writing a diary entry in a journal just seems to go out the window. It's like, where do I fit the time in to do this? And it's true. You've done 101 things today, maybe more, and you don't have that time. You're just so busy. Writing a diary entry or journal might take 10 to 15 minutes. And it's important, I think. When I was talking to the kids about it, we were talking about why it's important to write diary. And it's important to write about your thoughts and feelings and to remind yourself as well. What happened today? What events have I gone through? How was I feeling about the events? And you don't think about why things had happened. You don't think about how they happened. And sometimes you don't even think the consequences of them. You could have done something that you felt was insignificant, a small thing, but you could have made someone else's day. You could have really helped someone because they were in a bind and then, you'd done something really nice. Or you could have said something that you didn't think was important, and you could have upset someone by accident because you hadn't really thought about what you were saying, or you hadn't really thought of the consequences of what you said. Now, I don't mean that, oh, I bought some pasta and not rice, so I ended up eating pasta again. That's kind of a random thing. I mean, that's not really important in the grand scheme of things. But I mean things like when you spoke to so and so at 1 p.m. during the meeting and they mentioned this important thing or they mentioned that, and you just said, okay, that's fine, and you just kind of glossed over it. But to them, it was an important thing and you hadn't realized. Or maybe when you sent that email reply at 11 a.m. to another person, and you replied in a way that sounded maybe off-putting, or you sounded a bit rude, and you wrote the email really quickly and then you sent it off, and you actually didn't mean to sound rude, or you didn't mean to sound insensitive, but you wrote it so quickly because at 11 o'clock you had to write that email and then rush off to a meeting because, oh, hey, your meeting's coming up at 11:30, or oh, I need to catch that person before they leave the office, you know and then you end up doing something that you hadn't thought was a big deal, and then the next day consequences happen and people are upset, or someone says something to you and you're like, huh, what did I do? So it could be some kind of small event, it could be a big event, and you're just not sure what to do in that kind of situation. So you did something or you did not do something. This could then lead to a consequence that you didn't realize could be a big deal the next day, or it could turn into something small and just not be a big deal. But it could be like a remark that you said to someone who, about something, and they didn't realize that actually it was not a good thing to say at that time. So writing your diary journal entry can actually then help you kind of take stock about what you did during the day, and it also kind of helps you remind you of the things that you've done. We do so many things, we forget about it, even small things, and we seem to forget that these small things then add up. And then soon, days go by, and before we know it, a new year has come around the corner, and we spent the whole year just doing mindless tasks or things that were just not important at that time, but we've done it now. So writing about our days is kind of important, writing our diary entries, writing our journals. And it's not just because we just want to take stock of what we've done, it's a little bit of mindfulness as well for ourselves. As I mentioned earlier, we're just so busy completing tasks and getting things done that we don't take a moment to think about what we've done. And we could accomplish like so many things in a day, and we forget just how amazing we are as well. We forget that we do things, and we forget that actually we are skilled and talented. Otherwise, how else could I have done this? And it's nice sometimes when you've written your diaries, you look back, if you have time in the day to read through them, and you go, oh yeah, on this day I did da 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 da. I forgot about that. And it's just nice to read it back to yourselves and think, actually, that was quite a nice thing I did. Oh, actually, that was quite a fun thing that I did. Why don't I do that again? And sometimes when we're just not feeling great or not feeling ourselves, we can just pick up our diary and read through it and read through all the great stuff that we did or have done. It's also good to write about things that we didn't get accomplished as well. Again, lots of people think that failure is a bad thing because, oh no, I failed to do it. They have in their mind this belief that we have to be perfect. We have to get everything right the first time. And we like to get things right. We're human. I mean, it's one of the things that we like to do. We like to be perfect at things. And if we get it wrong the first time, we forget. It's okay to do that. We're not like robots. We're allowed to get things wrong. Then this is kind of how we learn from them. And writing about our failures as well can help us and help you to see, maybe even pinpoint the mistakes and where something actually went wrong. And this kind of helps you to retry the thing and do things differently the next time. It's how we learn from the mistakes that help us in the future. Don't get hung up about the mistake. Yes, I made a mistake. Okay. What can I do now to rectify that? And I think people forget that and they get stuck on, oh God, I've done this terrible thing. I'm the worst person in the world. Oh my God. And they had that thought in their mind and it just goes round and round. And that's just not very helpful. It doesn't help anyone, doesn't help you particularly in your mind and mental state. And it just makes you feel worse and worse and worse. So you could write in your diary, oh, I've done this mistake. Tomorrow I will do, and then you just give yourself some instructions, or you write, maybe tomorrow I can talk to this person again and explain myself. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say what I said. But it's, a very important thing to reflect on your behavior, reflect on what you've said, reflect on what you've done and keeping this record of things as well, because then in the next day you can write your diary. So today what you did and what happened. You write the consequences of it, and it's nice then to see a progression, um, especially if you're actually something that you're worried about and something that you felt, God, this is the worst thing in the world. It kind of weighs on you, and then writing it down and working it out helps you to take off that weight. It helps you to think about what can I do better now. So it's kind of important, and we need to remember this, and we need to remember that it is just part of life as well. We get through life, we do things, we do 101 things. There's something that's going to slip through the cracks, of course. So, kind of writing it down also is a nice reminder for yourself. Oh, yeah, this is what I did today. So that's all for this podcast. Before I go, I do just want to quickly mention that Hanaz Writers have got some lovely new pens available on their website, and they can be used for anything, including writing a diary entry or your journals. So if you're looking for a very special writing implement or tool, then why not have a look on their website for these pens and see if you could purchase one for yourself. They might even be having some other special things on sale soon. So keep an eye out on the website, have a look. If you're not part of the website community, then it's free to create your own membership with them, free to have an account with them, and you could even just get started. Especially if you want to write a story or you are looking for somewhere to do storytelling, it's a great website for it as well. Thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. And if you would like to listen to more, subscribe. Click the subscribe button below. We're going to be doing more podcasts, and you can listen to them for free on Hanaz Writers YouTube and Spotify channels. You can also follow Hanaz Writers on Facebook. The handle is @hanaz.writers. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, bye.